Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Semi-Original Guy, aka Mr. Cannon from Advanced Wars by Web, bringing you another replay commentary. But this time folks, we have a guest. I know, it's crazy, I'm not even by myself this time. We have the one, the only, Recon enthusiast, Cynical Boy, aka Recon's Good Yes. Hello.
Hello everyone. Sorry, I cut you. Hello everyone, thank you for having me here, and I'm ready for the action, man.
Absolutely. No, this is gonna be a banger. Actually, Cynical sent me this one just a couple days ago, saying that this was one that was sent into him by one of these two players. And you know, we just wanted to look over it and see what was going on, see what was gonna happen. It is the map Goldfish Princess, which I believe is in rotation right now in the fog. Very odd map. Well, not really too odd, but definitely interesting. We got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bases, and we have ports. I don't think I see an airport on this map like at all. So
yes, there is one next to the HQ, man.
There we go. All right, so we got 1, 2 airports right by the HQ. Now I need my glasses today. I don't have them on, so I can't see very well. But yes, wow, what a cool map. What are your thoughts on the map there, Cynical?
I have not played it, never, but I think it's gonna be very interesting. I have no thoughts. I went into this like, okay, yes, I like this, we can comment on this. The only thing I can see being spicy is the black boat can cross between lakes because of the port. So maybe we see some boosties. I don't know if we are gonna see them, but maybe.
It is possible to get some boosts with that for sure. The only other thing is maybe a black boat sitting on your own port would be a very effective shield too. But by that point, I mean, the enemy would have to be pushing really, really far into your territory. So not sure if that would be more of a desperation move than anything, but you can definitely get some cool boosts out of that. Pretty close to the comm tower too, by the looks of it. So
yeah, definitely the black boat looks like it's on the weaker side, but on the weak side you have the airport at the end of the day, so it's not that weak. You have the 3 bases on the corner, so there is an imbalance, but it's very mild. So I think both sizes are not equally, but there is an argument for going for any of them. Not is like I don't know, Black Sun Rising, where there is a clear weak side compared to the strong side.
yeah, that's the other thing about this. There's not really any clear defined weak side or strong side since the bases are all in the corners, right? So I mean, you can definitely catch your opponent off guard if they're not ready for it. So I don't know, could be a pretty interesting matchup. I mean, today we got Mr. SL or Mr. C or Mr. Yes or another Mr. in the house, that's for sure, and Tordread. So I mean, everybody that plays Advanced Wars by Web knows who Tordread is. One of the top-rated fog players. I think he's known for his aggressiveness, right? He's the tank guy.
Tank man. Yes.
Tank man, the Tordread. He's definitely got some terrifying tanks, that's for sure. Now, Mr. C, Mr. Yes, Mr. SL, another Mr. in the house, also known as Mr. Not So Cool, Mr. NSC. So, yeah, I think, isn't NSC like a fairly new player, or has he been around for a while? I can't quite remember.
He has been around for quite a bit of months, I think more than half a year already, but he's a very strong player. He is, I think he has hit already the 1200 on his main. He has definitely hit, if I remember correctly, 1300s on this account. This is his Smurf account. He has been undefeated until very recently with it, so he's very strong. Like, he's not on the top 10, but he's in the top 30-40 players currently in the global league.
Yeah, he's got some serious potential, that's for sure. So I'll toss up the player profiles up here so you guys can take a look at that. I do believe that I just checked Mr. SL, Mr. Yes, Mr. Not So Cool, and he's actually right now currently in the 1300s on this account. So that's pretty cool.
So I remember correctly.
Tordread, I'm pretty sure he's pushing like in the 1500s right now. I didn't actually check his profile before this, but I know that he's definitely 1500, 1600 potential. So yeah.
Yes, somewhere there. Tordread is definitely very, very, very strong. He's, I could say right now on the tip players, he's top 5. But the problem he has is he chokes a bit. He's not very consistent. He has some very good plays if he is in a good mood and a good day. But maybe if he has a bad day, you can play solidly and you can defeat him. So it's very, very inconsistent. Not super inconsistent, but he has inconsistencies, let's say.
Without a doubt. Well, I have to go up against Tordread actually today in the final round of that tournament that's going on, so I'm sure that I will have a lot of terrible things to say about that match in the future.
Luck with that. But maybe it is.
There's not going to be any luck. It's just going to be either win or lose. Most likely lose, but I think I got like a 20% chance to maybe not lose in the first 10 days. So I'm going to go for it.
It's the tournament where you have to decide of the CO pick, so you might have a pick advantage over him. Well, because everyone is going to high pick against Tordread.
Well, let's cross fingers at least. All right, but without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into this one here. So we got Tordread, Green Earth, Mr. SL as Purple Lightning. So first few days, obviously, all we got are our standard infantry builds. Nothing out of the ordinary. Both players moving in to capture their neutral base. Standard stuff. Both players move in north and south to cap those properties. Very standard stuff. Now, let's see when the first player decides to build like a vehicle is. Oh, right there. All right, Tordread coming in with the recon right away. Let's see what Mr. Sai decides to do in response to that. Doesn't build a recon himself on day 3. So what's your thoughts about that? What do you think the day 3 recon is going to accomplish?
Day 3 recon, I was trying to count tiles, but he is probably aiming for an interrupt. I couldn't say which one, but he's probably going to the middle-ish. You see these 4 properties. So maybe the property next to the souls of the black boat, somewhere between there, is gonna try to do an interrupt. But I'm not sure.
Yeah, by the looks of it, in 2 days he should be able to get to right around here, right above the comm tower. So that would put him in a good position to either interrupt the mid properties or over here by the port for sure. So yeah, let's see what happens with that. Mr. Sai not coming out with the recon though himself. So we'll see if that comes back to bite him in the butt or not. But that does... Oh, he's going all the way north with his recon. Ooh.
I mean, it's a faster route, right? No, you hit the same amount of planes. I was thinking if you go to the middle, you get 2 planes. If you go this way, you get 2 planes too. So you will move 6 next turn.
Yeah, you would get the 2 planes, but it looks like his plan is mostly just to be aggressive on this side over here with the interrupts instead of over here. So, and completely skipping the airport too and going way up.
Yeah, because you have the chains cap. So
yeah.
He wants to boost this infantry into the middle properties, because at the end of the day, the priorities on the capture game is going to be chains, then contested properties, and then the rest. And right now, Tordread is going for the chain, then it's going for the contested properties with the infantry and the HQ, and then he's going to get the rest.
No, that is for sure. You definitely want to get the boost with that black boat while it's there. And we have something interesting here from Mr. Not So Cool. He actually base skips for a tank, early tank right now. So it's kind of interesting. I guess he is the second player, so he gets the free infantry at the beginning.
Yeah, maybe that was the reason he didn't go for the recon because he was trying to get the early tank, maybe expecting aggression from Tordread, so he is completely prepared against this recon right now, because this tank is gonna one-shot the recon if the tank attacks from planes and the recon is on light terrain. And at the end of the day, tanks do 85 base damage plus lag. So if you have a slight boost with a tank, unless the recon is on a city, you are very easily killing it if it has cheap damage from infantry.
For sure. Now it's just going to depend on whether or not he is going to send that over to where the recon is too. I mean, like 50-50 chance, right? But either way, he'll be prepared way in advance for whatever is to come. And Tordread, he only has just enough to build a tank right now too, so he's going to have to either build another recon or have an infantry turn here, which is definitely going to put him behind in the tank game, especially having a tank way in the front line. So we shall see. Doesn't actually go for the boost with the infantry though, so he's capping the port.
There is no UEC contested chain into the sides, into the corners. So at the end of the day, the most valuable economical play is just to cap the port.
No, it's perfectly fair. That is one thing. If people haven't noticed, all these properties are actually about 4 squares away from each other, so it's impossible to get capture chains on them. So you really have to plan out your route of captures for sure for this map. There's only a few ones early on, like from here to here and here to here, that you can really chain. That's pretty much about it. Alright, so which way is this tank gonna go? Is it gonna go south? Or
I think it's gonna go middle-ish into the broken pipe seam tile around that area.
Okay, let's see if you're right.
But when you open tank on a fog map, you normally want to aim it to cover some captures. So it's not like you have the vision of to see a recon coming. So you have to be proactive. You cannot be reactive.
Absolutely, and it looks like he has chosen to defend these 3 infantry with the tank. So just in case, Tordread did have a recon that went this way. Those are perfectly defended now, so nothing to worry about over there. Ooh, and he builds a recon of his own now too. Cool. And just doing a little bit of scouting with this black boat too, just making sure nothing is sitting on those properties. Trying to get as much intel as he can.
I think we are seeing a tank from Tordread next turn. It could surprise me he doesn't go for a tank this turn. It's already day 6.
Well, he's got the 10k, so he's got the funds for it. So if
yeah,
I'm guessing he's gonna pop a tank out of this property right here up north. Yep, cool. Yeah, that just makes sense because it looks like he's probably gonna send it north to start harassing this area. So it does make sense to put it up there. That's my guess, at least. I don't know. He might send it mid too. So I guess we shall find out soon.
Call me skeptical, but I was expecting a transport play on this map, to be honest. I was expecting some APC or how you call it, or transport copter shenanigans. But at the end of the day, Mr. Cool is a very adaptive player, but he wants he's similar to Tordread on playstyle. He doesn't like to be a stolly, he likes to be very aggressive. And Tordread the same. And if you are expecting mostly Mr. Not So Cool, your opponent to be aggressive with recons, going in transports is not a very good idea, because transport openings are normally countered by, recons. So you have to be very careful with that.
Absolutely. This is actually a good drop with the infantry too, not putting it right here or right here. Making sure that it's in a safe spot to either cap this property or this property. But I definitely agree with you with the transport theory. I think, especially when you're playing against a very known aggressive player, transports tend to be a second choice. You really want to get your ground units out there first and make sure that you establish some sort of ground domination before you start getting your transports out there. Because if you build a transport early on, then that's one less vehicle unit that you have. And yeah, your opponent could end up just rolling you then.
Yeah, it's an invest, 5k for an APC, and if you move that infantry into a middle property and then the recon attacks it, you wasted so much tempo and resources on that infantry that you practically lose the game against any skillful player. And we can see that Tordread is doing a tank change into his strong side, I would say, like this bottom right area.
Yeah, it does look like the bottom right is going to be his strong side for sure. He did some scouting up here with the recon, noticed that there was not really anything to deal with, moved the recon down here, notices that the Mr. Not So Cool's capture chain has moved up to this location so far. He does not see the tank yet, so the tank is very well hidden in that forest. And that's pretty much about it right now. He does have a lot of intel, so see what he does with
this
that.
recon is not dying next turn, but is quite exposed. It might get shot by the tank if the recon spot ticks, and if the recon goes south west, it's gonna spot it. So let's see what Mr. Not So Cool does.
Now the only thing about this here too is if we do spot the recon, it looks like Mr. Not So Cool has a choice. Most likely the best choice would be to attack from the forest, if he did go for the attack. But if he did choose to attack from the plains for the extra attack bonus, he would be popped by this tank here as cover. So it's gonna be a risky choice here for sure.
I mean, if you attack from the plains from the south, you're gonna be running into the two range middle property with a tank, so you never want to attack into the two base range of a base, in at least not the best choice for vehicle purchase, because when you are purchasing vehicles, you want to, I think in this map, unless you have some capture ideas with your infantry, you want to get your vehicles from the farthest base. So guys, we are alone. Mr. Cannon has left. I could keep the comment in here, but he's gonna probably edit it. But what I was saying is that basically you don't want to attack into the range of two movement from your enemy, because it's very likely to be there a vehicle. You can bet your kidney that is gonna be there, and if it's not there, you have no way to knowing it, but it's the most safe bet. And in fact, you want to do safe bets. And Mr. Not So Cool go for the copter. He's gonna be forced to wheel triple infantry. I mean, where is the tank gonna go now? If the tank goes anywhere, it's gonna be exposed. Because I mean, yeah, it's very risky now advancing with this tank. So we were talking about the thing that you don't want to attack into your two range base. So basically, as you can see, this tank on the middle for Tordread is in range of that plane tile from down of that recon, and that's basically in range of the 2 base range. So you don't want to attack never ever into that range unless you have some strong backup. But yeah, you have to basically respect that range.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, you don't want to be doing that. That's one thing that I find that I struggle with a little bit is I don't really count the tiles too much, but in a few of my more recent matches, I've been starting to do it, and yeah, you definitely survive a little bit longer if you do those little tiny little things to help you play it out. So, perfect. Looks like we also have a battlecopter coming in from Mr. Not So Cool. Okay. So definitely getting the unit count up for sure. And
I like the detail of this black boat and this infantry, because if you move the infantry full movement, where is the black boat, you might get hit by a recon from planes, but if you just moved one less space, you will be covered and you will be able to start the cap next turn. So that's some good details that most intermediate players don't do, and I think they are very important because they cost nothing and they might save you a lot of pressure and tempo.
yeah, like these infantry down here are perfectly protected by that black boat. Well, I mean, unless he slips up here, but that's not really a position you want to be in.
Oh, because it's on a forest, so even if you can sleep.
Oh yeah, that is a forest right there. Okay, so yeah, even if you do slip up there, it's like nothing's really happening. And even in the event of that he attacks the port, now we got the battlecopter and the tank covering the port too.
So, yeah, you don't want to interrupt that port.
No. So yeah, no, Mr. Not So Cool is actually coming out with some pretty thought out plays so far. So that's awesome. Actually, fun fact too is I just covered Mr. Not So Cool not that long ago in a match, and I believe he was only, well, I don't want to say only, but he was in the 1,000 range at that point. So I believe that was definitely a climbing point for him, getting out of the 1,000 ranges.
Yeah, he has climbed a lot with his Smurf, because remember, this is his alt account, and he has a skyrocket in Elo with this one.
Absolutely. So you can definitely see that there's been a lot of improvement in his game. Okay, so Tordread up next. And let's see what Tordread does.
He has the control of the middle completely, because if you compare the mirror tile where Tordread Recon is standing, Mr. Not So Cool has not, how you call it, vision at all. Now this recon positioning is gonna deny the capture, because you cannot kill it in 2 turns unless you have a second tank. But Tordread doesn't know that, so it's a bit risky. But yeah, it's very risky, because imagine the enemy has the recon and the tank in range, then you place an infantry capturing, and you keep bringing more vehicles. I think it's a bit too aggressive for my taste, but maybe he has an argument.
He might have a plan for it, that's for sure. Could possibly just be he wants to get a little bit more vision here to see if maybe Mr. Not So Cool is like accumulating his units here for a push. But in general, that is definitely a risky position for the recon. However, Mr. Not So Cool, he doesn't really have a whole lot to take it out, like you were saying. I don't believe that a tank and an infantry shot would do it. I think that would probably take it down to 1. Infantry shot would be kind of risky. Plus, you're injuring one of your infantry for the capture game, so not 100% advised. Although, I mean, if the situation calls for it, for sure. But
now that I think, sorry,
go ahead.
There is a tank change going to the middle, and now it's gonna reinforce the recon. So Tordread is probably expecting Mr. Not So Cool do not have material to hit KO this Recon, and then he's gonna maintain the high ground, and he's gonna attack from it to the enemy Jake. So if you are able to force a fight, and while you are holding the high ground, it's gonna result in you winning, favorable to you. So I think that is his plan.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely trying to control the mid. He's probably going to be trying to capture this property too, just to gain all 4 of the mid properties and just hold that middle hard.
I don't think he's gonna try to capture that on the Recon.
No?
But he's probably gonna force fight in that area. And if you force fight, you are gonna indirectly deny the city.
Yeah. And this is actually a really dangerous position for Mr. Not So Cool to allow Tordread in, because if he does manage to get control of this area right here, including this city, and it looks like he's pushing hard into this area, so if he controls all this and all this in the middle, it's only a very short distance to actually get to that HQ. Mind you, that would be pushing up quite a bit, but I mean, if he does get control of that, it's mostly just a slow push to victory at that point, but we'll see, because Mr. Not So Cool, he does have quite a bit of stuff up here. Looks like he is going to be able to capture that corner, especially with the recon assistance. But I don't know, because it is looking like he's going Battlecopter, so unless Tordread builds some anti-air or a Battlecopter of his own too, I mean, the tanks are going to be at a disadvantage. Well, let's see what he does. Uh-oh. So we're going in to attack the recon too. Ooh, only 60%. And it definitely is covered. And we can't reach it with the Battlecopter yet. Now, the one saving grace is that only one tank is in range of hitting it right now. But, yeah, still not really the best. Now, I think this is staying just out of range of the Recon's vision, right? Yeah. Ooh. Alright, so interrupting the cap with the Recon here too, so now we do get some vision over here, but we don't see any of the tank chains yet. So that is quite spooky. Alright, now what are we gonna see?
I think there is a mistake on the capture game of Mr. Not So Cool, but maybe it's been too picky, because there was an infantry on range of the com tower, and there was an infantry that could have gone for that property on the top left, the other one. There is, if you go back, there is an infantry that could have go in range of that property next turn. The one that went for the com tower. One turn less. Okay, this infantry that went for the com tower could have gone for the forest, and the infantry on the forest could have gone for the com tower. So now he gets that property, but probably he is expecting not to get that property because it's quite contested. But I think it's worth the try, because you are seeing that Tordread is being aggressive on the middle, so you might get the chance to get something somewhere else, you know?
Yeah, I think at that point it probably would warrant the risk for sure. There's not really too much else that those infantry are doing.
Wow, the double copter.
Double copter. We got the double copter crew in the house.
Maybe he knows that Tordread likes spamming tanks, and he is like, okay, I'm gonna spam copters. Simple.
That is true. I mean, if he is expecting the tank chain, a very good, clear-cut counter to the tank chain earlier is just a couple of Battlecopters. Now, once the anti-air stopped coming in, it's going to be a little bit different. And look at that damage. Ouch. That is some unfortunate damage right there. Now, mind you, that's not game breaking or anything at this moment, but considering that Mr. Sai doesn't really have any extra tanks, it is unfortunate to get your tank first hit like that. All we can really hope from him is that those battlecopters definitely come into play. Now, unfortunately, the tank is out of range of the battlecopter that was just built. This battlecopter could hit it, but that's about it. So we'll see what sort of positioning Tordread puts himself in at this point. We'll also see if he decides to build an anti-air this turn too, because it's day 9. So this is pretty much the standard day to get an anti-air on the field. And we got double tanks instead. Uh-oh.
I want to mention that was a very high roll. Because normally when you attack, Jake had one comp tower, and the roll for that it was 54 to 62, so it was quite a high roll. Remember that tank on 4 HP had chip damage from the Recon counter attack, but still it was a very high roll. So it could have been on 2 HP, this tank on the city. So that would mean that the copter now attacking into 8 HP is gonna be basically a kill for Mr. Not So Cool. So it was a risky play, in the risky and not super risky, but too risky for my taste.
It could have easily gone either way. I'll actually put the damage calculator up there too, so you guys can take a look at that to see exactly what Cynical was talking about there. Definitely a risky move. But, you know, sometimes you got to take those risks to actually get the rewards, too.
Because if it had 8 HP, that tank is definitely dying to the copter 4 HP tank, and then infantry and a second infantry if needed. So it was quite risky. It was favorable for him, but you never know if there is more than one vehicle. And look, he's gonna get it, even though,
we got
he's gonna
got the 4-way attack going here, and we did manage to get that kill. Now the only issue with that too is devoting 4 units to taking out 1. Now we have a lot of units in range of getting counterattacked by all this stuff here. But he still does not have a counter to those battlecopters, so it's going to be very risky to push up into that.
I don't hate it too much, because if you think about it, he has built a wall for the infantry to capture. So at the end of the day, he has exposed the units, but those units are going to be used as a wall. So he's walling the capture while killing something. So he's doing 2 things at a time, which is very useful, since units only have 1 action per turn.
Yep, and that is the difference between a mid-level player and a high-level player for sure, making sure that you have have like 2 to 3 plans for each one of your units with your movements. So everybody take note of stuff like that, and it'll definitely improve your game in the long run.
And another very important thing, maybe this is being super picky, but I want to mention it. If you go back and you see how they finish the tank, it's very important that the infantry on planes attacks first. And the reason for that is because the infantry on the silo doesn't want to get chip damage back by the 1 HP tank. And the reason for that is that now Jake cannot kill that infantry reliably, because even though he's Jake and he will have the bonus, he has no infantry in range to take the second attack from the eastern plains. So it's very important that the infantry on the silo is completely fresh, 100% HP, to withstand the attack from the bridge and plains, which is likely to happen, but it's not warranted. And if you want to keep the chances in your favor, you keep them.
100%. Yeah. No, that's actually a really good point too. So yeah, thank you for that. You definitely gotta keep your units safe, that's for sure. Okay, so let's see what else we got. I think we already went through that. All right, so Mr. Not So Cool, Mr. Psy, Mr. Yes, double tank this turn. So I think that definitely the double tank is warranted at this point because he knows Tordread's coming in with his tanks. And building more than 2 battle copters is a little bit risky because once the anti-air gets in the front line, I mean, those guys aren't going to be lasting too much longer. So what do you think? Do you think Tordread's going to attack into this and try to interrupt the cap? Or is he going to start pushing his units over here?
He has vision of the copter. He has no anti-air yet coming. He has to go somewhere else. He has to... anything but within that copter range. He's gonna get 2 free shots if he attacks into that copter. So he has to maybe go to the right side, back up for a few turns, but attacking into that is completely suicide, in my opinion.
Yeah,
because
no,
you see the battle copter. You have no counter, you don't go in.
No, 100% agree with you. Plus, definitely since we just lost that tank, not really worth it.
Now, see how Tordread ignores whatever we say and does his thing. I'm not saying that he's gonna throw the game, but I'm saying that he has maybe some other plans. We are thinking this over in an improvised way. So I want to point out that now that Mr. Not So Cool didn't get the city I mentioned earlier, instead of the com tower, he's not gonna get it, not cleanly, because he would have end the capture next turn, and now he won't have it. So that is gonna cost him fighting for the property.
Yeah, that's now going to be a very contested property right there.
That's why you want to rush the most contested properties. So even though the mountain, the city that is just captured left to the mountain on the top, you don't want to lose that compared to the other city. But at the end of the day, he's not planning Mr. Not So Cool to go hard in this area. I see no vehicles backup, so maybe there is an argument that he's trying to go harder on the middle. But still, I think this map is all about the fighting in the middle, and the sizes don't see too much action, but not completely sure.
I just see the middle is way too important to lose, really. So that's definitely the place where you want to be doing the majority of your fighting. I feel if you lose the middle, then it's way too easy for you to get overrun on either of these two sides, because your opponent's just going to be able to shift their units there way too quick. Whereas if you can at least force your opponent to sit back a little bit, it's going to be harder for them to get over to the sides. But I don't know. You know, like I said, I haven't actually played this map. I might have played it. I think I remember playing it a while ago, but I just don't remember the actual general feel of the map. So
we didn't talk about the picks, but certainly Jake is a strong pick. Maybe Cole is out of the question. I think Cole is terrible here. There is no roads in the middle. I think Grim is out of the question. Sonia is not tier 4. I think yes might work, but I would probably go Jake on this map.
I think Jess could be a definite consideration for this map for sure. The lack of air damage would kind of hurt you a little bit if you decided to go Bounticopters. The infantry game would be a little bit weaker. I think Jess would probably start to shine a little bit more like mid-game once you get a lot of your tanks out. Especially with like the +1 movement she gets to those tanks. But in general, probably Jake would be better pick and possibly I could
There
see
is
Adder.
planes everywhere.
Yeah, I could see Adder being okay for this map too. I would probably say either Adder, Jake, or Jess would be your picks. Cole, definitely no.
No,
Grim,
no.
probably not. Nobody really wants to play Grim unless they're trying to challenge themselves. Cynical boy. What? I don't know who said that.
Unless you have some shenanigans going on with the copters, Dream is not a good CO. But also the airport on this map is very advanced, and also is tilted to one side, so that and it's not very hard for anti-airs to follow copters around. There is quite a bit of forest, but there is not much terrain that disrupts the movement of threats of the anti-air. So I see yes being viable on this game. Also, this is a map made by the only map maker from the Chinese community. So there in the Chinese community are much more, how you call it, yes lovers and call lovers. And this is not definitely the map for a call, but I think they might tilt towards yes, maybe. Yeah, the Chinese players, the communities doesn't spam as much copters as we do. That's at least what Lightning Strike has claimed to me. This is a very unlucky roll. I think Tordread with 120 and 110 on the infantry has a 80% chance of killing the infantry, but he failed it.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. I do
think
believe
it's 80%. Not sure.
I'm not sure. 100%. I think this roll probably actually could have worked. Maybe if he actually attacked from here first and then attacked here, that could have possibly worked. Because I think it would have still taken it down to 4 regardless, and then the infantry here, I believe, would have actually had a potential or a bigger potential to take it out with the extra luck and lack of defense. But either way, unfortunate rolls in general there. But yeah, I don't have too much experience playing against the Chinese player base. I played a couple people. One person I remember playing in particular, I believe he was a Chinese player. His name was Shy. And yeah, he didn't really build too many battlecopters at all. He was mostly all ground forces. And
yeah, they love also medium tanks.
Yeah. He was actually also a very nice fella. So, you know, Shy, if you're seeing this at any point, hey man.
Hello. Okay, so Tordread opts to counter the enemy copter with a copter of his own instead of answering immediately with an anti-air. So he is gonna be, I mean, Jake's copters are very strong because they one-shot enemy copters on superpower, but the problem is that on the day-to-day, you rely on the planes to do big damage to an enemy copter. And right now, this copter next to the city is not adjacent to any plane, and the only plane that it's adjacent to is covered by a recon and an infantry. So that copter is not dealing with any danger right now.
It's not going to be able to do too much damage to this at all. I think probably, I'm thinking one of the reasons why he built the copter right away too is maybe because he wanted immediate reinforcements. But once he notices, actually no, I don't think he noticed the second. Yeah, he hasn't noticed the second one.
I believe he didn't.
No. I think he maybe just did it because of the immediate reinforcement that it would give, rather than the anti-air taking 2 to 3 days to actually get in position to do anything.
Yeah, one day less than an anti-air.
Yeah, I think that's probably why he would do it, but... Oh, I just noticed all my settings are in Spanish. That's what I get for... That's what I get for loading. I think so.
That's not Spanish.
Well, what is that then? I don't know.
In antri capt res neutral. That's not Spanish.
Well, what language is that?
I don't know. That's not English. And that's not English, Spanish. That's not.
I don't know what's going on.
Maybe if someone in the comments knows what language is that, comment it.
I'm so confused. Anyways, that's not important though. What is important is we're gonna see what Mr. Not So Cool does to continue, because it looks like, I don't know, to me it seems like he's actually in a much better position right now, but it's also hard to say because Tordread is pushing down here with his tank, and well, possibly 2 tanks down here, but we got lots of battlecopter support up here, so I mean it looks like we're going to be getting a split map pretty soon. But it's so hard to tell at this moment. I'm not sure how it's going to go. I would say that Mr. Psy might have a slight advantage at this point, but I mean, I would never count Tordread out of the fight for sure.
And I'm gonna still insist on that later capture of the city, because the infantry that just capture now it could be on the forest, and it could spot the infantry capturing, and it could have interrupted. And since you are going hard on this area of the map, that could be perfect, because you will deny it forever until you lose or you stop being hard on this area. So that's a big loss, because you are not gonna deny that city now.
Yeah, so maybe just a few changes in your quality of gameplay there might actually put you in a much better position. I definitely agree. Now, however, I can't remember what sort of role those 2 infantry down here ended up playing. It looks like moving the infantry down here did actually make sure that we secured the middle for the most part, but I would have to look back a couple days to really make sure. But I think definitely having your infantry in this forest right here scouting this, making sure that we interrupt that cap would be very, very, very good to do. Especially because we have this bottom property right now too. So if we did deny that property, that would just put us a little bit ahead in funds for pretty much the entire map. So,
although the south front for Mr. Not So Cool is scrambling, so right now he can perfectly lose 2 properties in 2 to 3 turns. So he has to be very careful.
Absolutely. Okay, so what are we looking at here? So at the end of Mr. Psy's turn here, we're at day 12. We got 30 units, 92 value, and against Tordread's 25, 75 value. So yeah, it's looking a little bit rough right now. 5 units isn't really too much of a difference. However, it definitely can be if we don't manage to get some kills, get some quality kills this turn.
Tordread is gonna build 3 to 4 units this turn. So if he managed to get a couple of kills, he's gonna be on top at the end of this turn. So it's not too bad.
Oh, we did manage to kill or clip 1 infantry out of existence right there, so that's not too bad. Moving the recon over here to try to get vision of this corner, but unfortunately we just end up learning nothing because we're just out of range, I think, here. Is that true? No, 2 spaces out of range from seeing this infantry. Alright, so moving the tanks down. What else do we got going on here? Battlecopter moving down. Alright, so we know that this battlecopter's up there. We don't want to be messing with them. Moving the battlecopter down south. Another battlecopter tank double infantry turn. So this was pretty much just a positioning turn. It's not really too many engagements were actually taken. 1 infantry was taken out. Finished capture on a city up here. Black Boat is sitting here being annoying to these infantry right now. And that is about
Now,
it.
if we look at the value and the unit count, we could argue that Tordread is slightly behind, and the reason for that is because at the end of his turn, he is equal on value and equal on unit count, so that means basically that the half turn advantage that he has is not being represented, so that means he's half a turn of value behind.
Yeah, 100%. If anybody doesn't know what the half value thing means, at the beginning of the game, player 2 is given the 1 infantry at the beginning, so that they'll be able to stay a half step ahead of their opponent on their turn, and then once player 1 goes, they'll be a half step ahead of player 2. So that's what they use to actually balance first turn advantage in these kind of games. So technically, if this was an even game, Tordread's value should be a little bit ahead of where Mr. Size is right now and unit count. So because it's equal, that means that Mr. Size is actually ahead. Because you'll see at the end of Mr. Sai, Mr. Yes, Mr. SL, Mr. Not So Cool, too many names to name. You'll see at the end of his turn once his value actually increases here.
Also, the way it goes, map makers, map committee balance these basis things is that they, I have heard that I heard in the chat they theorize once you give a numerical value to each base, the time they first will a unit. So for example, if player 1 wills 1 unit from every base turn 1, each value of each base would be 1. But since there is at the start of the game 1 neutral base, it could be 1, 1, and the third base could start pumping out units on the third turn, because first one you move, first one you will, second you move, third you capture, 4, so it could be 4. So, and the unit that captures the base counts as a unit willed by the base. So it could be 1, 1, 4, and the enemy could be 1.5, 1.5, and minus half. No, 1.5 minus half. I think you know what I mean, right?
I think I get you.
It's like, because if you have the infantry already pre-deployed on your base, you wield it half a turn earlier, since you are player 2. So the tempo of that unit is minus half, because you wield it on the turn minus half. And the tempo of the other base that has no infantry is 1.5, because you are the second player. So that adds up and is basically 2, and the other player is 1 and 1. That means it's 2, 2.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Don't worry.
Let's keep focusing. Both players are mirroring each other. They are going hard into their enemy black boat area.
Yep. It looks like Tordread has a triple cap chain going here. As we were just sort of moving over the motions here, we actually did notice that these 2 infantry took out an infantry right here that went to go interrupt this one. So Tordread actually forego the cap on this to make sure that that infantry was killed. Moved in with this recon over here to injure this infantry as well. Again, those 2 caps shifted his units down here. Mr. Sai also mostly just shifted his units over here. So it looks like, yeah, we are definitely going to be hitting the corners over here very, very hard.
I disagree with the interrupt by Mr. Not So Cool on the south, and the reason for that is he could perfectly flee with the infantry, but he might have not known that Tordread was going super hard on this area, because he lacks the vision. I think he needs this infantry on the HQ to sit on the mountain at least, so he gets some intel, and he definitely needs a second recon that is coming now. So that recon needed to be there earlier, and now he keeps interrupting. Instead of running into the forest, he sacks the infantry, which I couldn't sack one unit count for one income.
Yeah, I mean,
So
all that's really going to do is delay the inevitable right there. Now, it is possible that he's planning on moving in with some of these units to try to get the hits, because he still doesn't have the intel that we have a huge, a fairly large little death ball over here, plus a few bait units in the front. So, I don't know. In general, though, yeah, you kind of want to keep your units alive if you can. Losing a property temporarily is not really too much of a big deal, especially when you know you're going to be flipping these properties over here pretty soon. Unit count would probably serve you a little bit better at that point.
And also, it's an infantry, so if you lose these cities, then you have the infantry next to them prepared to recapture them if the enemy front switch. So you just have to move the infantry down again, and it will be prepared to capture again. Yeah, it was a 7 HP infantry, but that 7 HP infantry can capture cities on 3 turns, so it's not too bad. And at the end of the day, you have the black boat that could have repaired it, and it could be completely healthy on 3 turns.
Absolutely. Now, the interesting thing here, too, is we have the black boat that notices that this property is being capped, so that does give Mr. Sai the intel that there are units right here in this area. You might not know the extent of the units, but you can assume that if we have units pressed up here, there are probably units backing up this guy right here too, so might give him a little, yeah, so it gave him enough foresight to maybe send down a couple more units down here. But it does look like we're still going heavy over here. So, I don't know. This one is still up in the air at this moment. I'm not sure how it's going to go. But you got 3 battlecopters down here. Yeah. Oof. I don't know. This is like super risky. I do agree with getting that infantry on this mountain though, because that would help us out a lot with vision. But Tordread doesn't
really... Yeah, the black boat on the port.
Tordread doesn't really have too much vision over here as well. He's got the recon right here, but it's gonna... It's not feeling too hot right now. Maybe getting that a little bit refuel and getting some HP on that from the city would be a good idea. Especially because this recon down here that he just built is at least like 4 to 5 days from being effective. We definitely want to keep that guy alive for sure.
Just put it on the forest and he will be alright. On the forest next to the tank on the silo.
Yeah, my only concern is that it's almost out of fuel too. So if you sit it there for too long, well, I mean, I guess it's not going to run.
11.
Yeah.
11.
Yeah.
So
if we
put it.
If we pop it here on this forest, it'll be fine because then we'll be 2 spots away from that refuel station if we need it. Okay, so yeah, these caps were denied for a little while at the cost of 2 infantry, but as you can see, 3 and 5 are the value left on that. So those are going to get capped pretty soon. Pushing it way up in the front lines here. So what do we get from that? So we notice that there is a battlecopter there. We got an infantry sitting on the port, infantry on the city, and I'm assuming that he's probably thinking that there's something in the forest.
I mean, it's a very strong position, but because you can only attack that recon from souls, and the recon is on planes. So at the end of the day, if you want to kill that recon with your own recon or a tank, or maybe a copter, you will get countered from a planes tile as Jake versus Jake. So you are basically again fighting into high ground.
Yeah, that is for sure. Yeah, I mean, if you were going to go in and sack the vision machine over there, you would lose whatever you actually did send up and sack to do so. I did notice that we have a little sacrifice going on up here to actually stop the interrupt in the corner. We actually lost our infantry up there, which actually had the vision from the mountain. So what's your thoughts on that? Would you have sacrificed that infantry to interrupt, or would you have just kept
because
them?
it was that infantry, and I like this infantry much more than what Mr. Not So Cool did with his infantry on the mirror end. Basically, because if Mr. Not So Cool doesn't go for the properties on the corner, which is very likely to happen, but if he doesn't know, he will be able to tell with the infantry on the mountain, and a lonely infantry attack won't succeed because you will be able to first strike it from planes, as Jake. So I think it was giving vision, it was giving enough preparation to counter any attack that didn't involve vehicles. So I think it was a fair trade, and at the end of the war, Tordread only lost one infantry against two infantries on that corner as Mr. Not So Cool. So that's a win for Tordread in that sense, for sure. But now Tordread is attacking into the belly of the beast, as Dijus would say, and he's getting countered pretty hard. Next turn we might see a superpower by Tordread, so Mr. Not So Cool has to keep that in mind and be careful, but still one bar away, 1 star from the superpower. It's not that quite close.
Yeah, well, I mean, at that point, if you're 1 bar away, if you were going to attack in, you could easily just use the battlecopter to attack one of the other battlecopters, and that should probably give you enough charge to get your super co-power at that point. Now, however, I don't know how effective a super co-power would be down south, because, I mean, we would definitely take out at least... Well, we would take out 1 copter guaranteed, injure another copter, and then we have 2 full HP tanks and 2 injured tanks to do some extra damage. So I'm not sure exactly how much we would do from that, because then we have to worry about Mr. Not So Cool's counterattack as well.
Yeah,
so,
and you would be attacking into the range.
Into the belly of the beast.
Yeah, because if Jake pops Mr. Not So Cool at the superpower, it could be +2 movement, and that basically means that this area is within the 2 range of the bases on the north, so it's danger zone, basically.
Yeah, highway straight to it, that's for sure. We do got a block with the black boat here, though, too, so that's very nice. So that does effectively at least block off this 1 battlecopter from being attacked right away.
Did he repair with the black boat?
I do believe that we got a refuel repair right here on this battlecopter.
Why not the other one? The one that got chip damage by the 4 HP tank? That's a mistake. Because that copter...
Oh no, go on.
I'm gonna tell you the HP that is sitting right now. But it's probably something in the low 90s. So you might get killed now.
That is actually a really good point.
It's between 92 and 96 HP, that copter that attacked the tank at 4 HP.
Yeah, so getting the refuel on this one and the repair would bring it right back up to 100%. So yeah, that would have been a little bit better. Oh, we are going to go in and get the strike on that battlecopter right there. So that guy is knocked out of existence. Now, what else are we going to do, though? I don't think this is going to be the block rock turn.
I think so. I mean... Knowing Tordread, it might be, but looking at the map, it doesn't look like it should. Because there is only 1 tank I see two tanks right now active for the Block Rock, so it's gonna be a very weak Block Rock.
I mean,
it happens.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think that we have enough intel right
Ooh.
now to effectively use that Block Rock. That tank is right in range of that artillery. Ooh, that is rough. That's actually, fun fact, I think this is... Oh no, we have 2 artillery on the field. So 1, 2, that's it. This has been the tank show, except for since a couple days ago, since those artillery came up. But now, oh boy, because we definitely got the super co-power from both players, so I don't know. Moving the artillery in range to actually be effective next turn with the +1 range.
Yeah, it's gonna cover that copter from being one hit KO by an anti-air.
Yep, and even if we do lose everything in the front line here, this infantry is going to be able to get vision from this mountain next turn, so that's going to be very nice.
There is recon, so yeah, everything is alright.
Yeah. There's the recon too. So we got lots and lots of angles of vision, so nothing really to worry about. Okay, so this is going to be the end of Tordread's turn. He did manage to get ahead 35 units. 128,000 value. However, we are going to most likely be seeing a co-power. Now, are we going to get the super co? It looks like we are going to get the super co-power.
Yeah, and the good thing is it's better to get your superpower before the enemy. Unless you are forcing it, like for example, imagine last turn Tordread went for the superpower, that could be a stretch, but he didn't. So if you get your super first, it's an advantage because you are fighting against no extra defense from the CO powers, and that might allow you from getting KOs that it couldn't happen and wall breaks, and that's very useful.
Oh, 100%.
I sense that it's gonna be a lot of kills this turn, let's say.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. These guys are actually in range to pop these guys from over here too, if we can manage to get the vision. So that +2 movement definitely going to be coming into play here. Okay, let's see. Ooh, nice shot from the planes, 70% damage. Wow, not bad. Get a huge 80% damage here, taking that down to 3. Not sure. Let me see.
I don't like that attack with tank too much. I think you should have attacked with the injured copter. Even though it's risky and you might see another copter coming and your anti-air is exposed, I think the tank, since it has +2 movement, it can do other things that this copter can do instead.
Yeah, the tank would just be way more effective if there actually ended up being another vehicle unit there.
It is true that it's the safe place, the safe play, because you don't want to kill your copter if there is an enemy copter here. But at the end of the day, if you are gonna attack that infantry, you would better do it, use the tank somewhere else. But I mean, I guess Mr. Not So Cool lacks the vision to get another usage of that tank.
No, for sure. Definitely making the best choices that you can with the information you have, for sure. That's a nice little wraparound with this recon here. That's huge. That gives you tons and tons of vision in the south here.
That should have been the first action, in my opinion, of his superpower.
I don't think that he really did too much else down here. It wouldn't have been able to happen right away, because he definitely needed to kill this infantry with the tank first. So once that became open,
yeah,
he was able to move all the way around. Moves the infantry, I'm pretty sure, just in case. It probably wasn't going to kill it. My thoughts? Nothing really to worry about with that, though. Takes out the vision machine. We are severely lacking in vision over here in the south now. No planes tile to attack from there.
It's a city. It's gonna be a very not safe, but it's not gonna be picked up by only one tank. Because the tank that is on plane is gonna die to another tank on planes.
Yeah, we just got like enormous value out of this super co-power too. I wonder why we went for that though. Okay, so for sure we get the kill, but wouldn't it probably make more sense to injure this one? Because we would do like a lot of damage to it.
But you are covering the tank on the city, denying the silo, and getting one kill.
Yeah, I guess that is a better position.
If you attack into the forest, you are covering the tank on the city from being attacked from planes, but you are exposing another tank to cover another tank. And yes, you attack a full HP tank, but I don't know. It's a hard choice.
It definitely is a hard choice. Yeah, maybe that's okay.
I'm gonna check the value, how much damage would have dealt. It could well have been 7 HP of damage against the forest tank. So definitely a very strong hit. Probably you could have gone for that instead.
Yeah, well, I think either or would probably be pretty safe hits. Let's see here. Yeah, I think they'd be fine. Okay, well, I mean, either way, we got a metric boatload of value out of that super co-power. So let's see what happens with Tordread's block rock now. So, oh no, that's unfortunate. So I tried the luck roll on the anti-air and we did not get it. Did get a massive hit on the tank here. I'm actually surprised that didn't do any more damage. I thought that would have been definitely a 1 HP one.
Yeah, but Mr. Not So Cool has the 10% defense going for him. So basically that was a plain tank.
Yeah. The 10% defense definitely saved this guy here on the silo as well.
Yeah, because now it was a 40 defense tank. And even though without the superpower defense, it couldn't have been a one-hit KO. The max damage you can do with a tank on planes on super as Jake to another on roads is 97. So unless it has some cheap damage, you won't be able to one-shot it.
Sadly, no. Unfortunately, it would not happen. Alright, so it looks like Tordread, unfortunately, did not get a super great amount of value out of his super co-power. We did manage to get Mr. Side down by about 30 to 40,000, so wasn't really too bad. But he still just has a massive unit advantage. And it looks like we have pulled ahead in the funds now, too. And we're just chipping those tanks down at the moment, too.
Yeah, right now, Tordread, on the weak side, lacks the material to repel the attack, and he has to retreat on the other side. So if you are losing on both sizes in in fog, is that something is going very wrong, because both players, yes, they went harder on one side than the other, but once they had all the army in one side, they stopped reinforcing it and start bringing all the reinforcements to the other area. So when you are doing that, unless you know you have the tempo advantage or maybe a indirect setup as Mr. Not So Cool had, you don't want to to keep pushing in an area you are not bringing a reinforcement. So both Mr. Not So Cool and Tordread should have retreat on the front that they are not bringing more reinforcement, in my opinion, to minimize losses. And this joint cap, I completely disagree, because at this point you have one on this front, so you should save as much unit count as possible.
Yeah, you're just sacrificing a unit with that one for sure. There's pretty much no way that you're going to be able to lose any of those 3 caps at this point. Definitely if you're paying attention to the KD, I think Mr. Not So Cool would definitely see that he's a little bit ahead there. Actually, what are we sitting at right now?
To 33.
Okay, so we're not really that much different at the moment.
And let me check one more thing. How many copters has built each of them? Because the one that has built more copters will have more unit count.
Not So Cool's got 7 to Tordread's 5.
Yeah, and Mr. Not So Cool skipped once. So Mr. Not So Cool should be 2 units ahead because of the 1 extra infantry and 2 extra copters minus the base skip. If they were equal, but Mr. Not So Cool is ahead on unit count.
Yeah, and it looks like that's actually the end of the match right there. So it does look like Tordread was behind quite a bit here. We're sitting at 20 units to Mr. Size 31. And it does look like where you're going to be losing those 3 properties. So I think at that point, yeah, it's a pretty justified resign. However, Tordread did play like very well the majority of that game. I think just a few moments of just trying to push up when you definitely shouldn't have is really the only thing that cost him. I mean, I know
think he lost on a strategy.
Yeah.
In my opinion, he should have not pushed into an area that he's not bringing more reinforcement. He might have overextend also in the strong side, in even more if you are not bringing more vehicles. So he fell into a completely devastating black rock from Mr. Not So Cool.
I just fell right into the block rock trap. That's about it. But either way, that was a fantastic match to actually go over. Definitely interesting to see like some really high level play and some high level thoughts come in with that. Yeah, you can see that just Mr. Not So Cool definitely thought out a lot of his plans of attack there. And he maybe even like played into the fact that he knows Tordread is like a known aggressor. So maybe just playing it really defensively against him there could really be what made the difference, for sure.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, any player, unless you are very, very unpredictable, like for example Go7, has a pattern. And for example, you won't see me playing two match of Sammy or two Stally with Hawk or Eagle. You won't. I don't think you will see Mr. Not So Cool or Tordread playing artillery spam like if they were in Cougar. So yeah, you might be surprised, but you can play the safe card towards these kind of patterns, I think.
No, definitely, for sure. All right, so any closing thoughts about that, Cinny?
Closing thoughts. I think the map, it's like, do you remember Euphari's map, which is quite dynamic?
Yep.
But I think it's a light version of that map, a diet version. I like that map more because the middle is not as important in terms of income, but in terms of tactical positioning. But on this map, the middle it has more properties um, to incentivize the fighter, and the sizes, even though they have many properties, you could argue between 4 or 5 contested properties. Don't see that. I don't know. I think it's. I would need to play it more, to see more plays, to have a completely answer. But at the moment, it's not like it brings anything too new, like other maps do. I don't think it's a terrible map by any means, but maybe it just doesn't bring anything, you know?
Just kind of like your standard fog map that you would see at your 9 to 5. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think it's a solid map.
Yeah, it's a good map for sure. I don't really have any complaints about the map. But definitely some interesting gameplay from both players. So, I mean, congratulations to both. It was a fantastic game. And, yeah, I mean, hopefully I'll be looking forward to seeing more of Tordread and Mr. Not So Cool in the future. I mean, I'll be seeing a little bit of Tordread, like I said, in the very near future that I'm not really looking forward to. But that should be good enough. All right.
You better cover the match against Tordread if he wins. I'm so sorry. I feel bad for him because I think I have already reviewed 3 games of him, but in all of them he loses, and I feel bad because he's a very strong player. But I only covered defeats from him, so he better get some love and maybe cover some of his wins to see how the tank spam aggressiveness succeeds, because it definitely succeeds many times.
You know what? I will probably cover the match that I have against Tordread, win or lose. Most likely lose.
Nice.
Just to show just how good he actually is against people that are not quite as good as him. So it'll be fun.
Good luck.
But either way, people, I thank you very much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you're not already. I'm going to be putting a link in the description below for Advanced Wars by Web, as well as the Advanced Wars by Web Discord, where you can chat and play with people around the world. I'm going to be linking Cynical Boy, aka ReconGoodYes' YouTube channel. So make sure to go check him out, give him a sub, give him a like, check out his memes, tons and tons of awesome quality content over there. And that should be about it. So appreciate you guys watching, and this has been Cynical Boy and Mr. Cannon, semi-original guys, signing out. Take care.